Hello and welcome back to Hoopers. We've seen NBA players act out of line, but it often ends badly for them. I mean, just look at how Damian Lillard served Westbrook a piece of humble pie and taught him not to mess with him ever again after washing off the mad trash talk by Westbrook himself. But before that iconic moment, we'll talk about how karma hit Ingram in the face when he celebrated way too hard after his filthy block on Frank Jackson, or the time Luka Doncic schooled the hell out of the Suns on 2 occasions. So without further ado, let's take a look at the moments NBA players get instant karma. When it comes to playing sports like basketball, it's really easy to get ahead of yourself and start talking trash or taunting your opponent. After all, when players get pumped up, emotions run high. And on top of that, since the NBA is full of the most elite players in the world, there's always a massive clash of egos, resulting in players acting out of pocket. Of course, letting your emotions get the best of you often comes to bite you in the back, and Brandon Ingram can relate to that. The Pelicans were up against the Pistons in February of 2022, and with less than 2 minutes remaining in the game, New Orleans was up by 11. Barring a crazy comeback, they had a W in the bag, but B.I. wasn't satisfied with that, so he wanted to make a statement. When Jackson drove to the rim for the layup, Ingram swatted that thing with a vengeance, then walked over his downed opponent to yell in his face. This was next-level taunting. But you know how the refs are, so they didn't waste any time before ejecting the forward. Though I guess Ingram could live with that since the Pelicans won. But the basketball gods weren't as kind to Luka, cause he got instant karma as well as the tough loss. You see, in Game 3 of the 2022 Western Conference Finals, Luka hit a crazy buzzer-beating three-pointer from way downtown, giving Dallas all the momentum heading into the second quarter. Doncic was hyped, so he hit the Warriors with a shimmy as they walked back to their locker rooms. Unfortunately for him, though, Andrew Wiggins would posterize the hell out of him later in the game. With around 6 minutes and 40 seconds left in the fourth, Maple Jordan flew high for a vicious dunk, sending Luka straight to the Shadow Realm. He put the Dubs up by 10, and they went on to win the game. That must have been humiliating for the Slovenian, but luckily for Doncic, he also found himself on the other side of things. The first time was his sophomore season when he faced off against the Suns in January of 2019. Luka Magic was bringing the ball up the floor with around 10.5 minutes left in the second quarter, while Kelly Oubre Jr. was the man in charge of defending him. Oubre felt the need to get too big for his boots, so he slapped the floor with all his might as Doncic was about to cross half court, but he probably shouldn't have done that, because Luka immediately responded with a step-back midi on Kelly's head. Funnily enough, the second time was also against Phoenix, but this time the stakes were higher, as it was the 2022 Western Conference Semis. After the Suns took Game 6, they were acting mad cocky, acting as if they were already in the conference finals, which prompted Luka to say his famous, "everybody acting tough when they're up" line. Then he proceeded to spank D-Brook and Phoenix in Game 7 of the semis, dropping 35 points and blowing them out of a monumental 33 points. But hey, it's only natural for athletes to get overconfident. The things are going their way, leading to them acting out of pocket. Though there are some players who try to talk trash even when they're down, and for dudes like Jimmy Butler, it worked out pretty damn well. But I can't say the same about Ja Morant. Memphis and Sacramento treated fans to a banger when they met in November of 2022. As the game went down to the wire, it was made even more memorable by the fact that Morant tried to get in Monk's head. But in the end, that backfired big time. Malik was at the free throw line with 3.9 seconds remaining while the Kings were up by 1. And Ja came up from behind and kept saying, "Don't miss" to him, which is exactly what Monk did. To make matters worse, Morant then missed the game, tying 3 immediately after that. But since the refs called a foul, he had a chance to tie it at the charity strip. And guess what? He bricked the first free throw, leading to a tough loss for the Grizzlies. Ja must have regretted his words, but not as much as Joel Embiid regrets disrespecting Westbrook. During the 2018 season, Russ and JoJo were beefing like crazy, and things were no different when they met in January 2018. With around 7 minutes and 35 seconds left in the first quarter, Embiid dunked the ball on Westbrook's head, sending him to the floor. He topped it off with a mean stare down, which only pissed off the Brody even more. Luckily for him, though, OKC went on to win the game by 10 points, and Russ had the ball in his hands as he dribbled out the clock in the fourth quarter. But as he did that, he stared the Cameroonian giant down for over 5 seconds to get back at him. Though as bad as this was for Joel, Giannis had it worse when he got instant karma in the form of a poster. In March of 2019, the Bucks and 76ers went at it, and Antetokounmpo even had 52 points that game. On top of that, he dunked the ball on Ben Simmons' head with 1 minute and 18 seconds left in the game. The Greek Freak let out a huge roar as he called Big Ben a baby. He was especially pumped up because he even drew the foul on Simmons and drained the free throw. Ben didn't let this get to him, and on the very next possession, he caught Embiid's miss to complete the putback dunk, posterizing Giannis in the process. Philly won the game by 5 as well, so their fans were over the moon about how the game ended. But when karma came for the Warriors, everyone was happy. Except for Warrior fans, of course. The Dubs were the villains of the league from 2016 till 2019, and when they lost close games, fans of every other team rejoiced. But in January of 2019, it seemed as if the Rockets were on the verge of being robbed by some sketchy officiating. With the score deadlocked at 132 with 30 seconds left in overtime, the Warriors lost the ball, and KD tried to keep it in bounds. The only issue was that he was clearly out of bounds when he saved it, but the refs chose to become blind, allowing Steph to get the rock and cash in on the midi. Luckily for the Rockets, though, the basketball gods were on Houston's side as Harden went on to drain one of the craziest triples, allowing the Rockets to win the game. This was a huge moment, no doubt, but imagine getting instant karma with a finals berth on the line. Well, the Celtics don't need to imagine it, because in the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals, Jason Tatum made the mistake of poking the bear when he posterized LeBron, and then intentionally bumped into the King while letting out a massive roar. James made him regret that by scoring one of the toughest layups ever, just 5 minutes later. I mean, LeBron's defender literally held him down with both his hands to stop him, yet he still made it, making his ticket to the finals a done deal. That said, one of the greatest instant karma moments of all time came in the 2019 playoffs, when Dame Time destroyed the Thunder. After Portland took a 2-0 series lead, OKC came storming back in Game 3 at home thanks to Russell Westbrook. And rather than being humble about it, Russ chose to talk mad trash to Lillard. He was picking fights with him, hitting him with the Rock the Baby celebration, and just running his mouth. But then in Game 5, with the series on the line, Lillard made Westbrook regret all of that, with the score tied at 115. Dame launched a tray from way downtown, hitting nothing but net. He then waved Russ and his team goodbye. That just goes to show you that nothing good comes out of being arrogant, because you never know what's going to happen next. After all, you can go from the highest to the lowest of the lows in no time, especially if you don't stay humble. Sure, sometimes being cocky works out well, and it makes for an epic moment, but more often than not, things don't end well with that type of attitude. On that note, we'll wrap up today's video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to Hoopers, because there'll be more awesome videos coming every week.